Now, I'm no stranger to taking concert photos. It's one of my favorite things to do, even if it's just something as a pastime. The one thing that is going to be hard for many people to get into is getting those shots because you have to get all this clearance. You have to go and get the really big shows, the ones at the big venues. So one of the coolest ones I was able to do recently was this one, 3 Days Grace, which was one I had to do at Budweiser stage in Toronto. This one was really cool because it was a little bit new of an experience because I was at the front in the photo pit compared to where it's like a free concert and you're still technically in the photo area, but where it's not past the gates, but you're still kind of like behind the gates and you kind of just take what you can from doing the free concerts and also doing the ones that are like the big performers and the big venues as well. Just to give you some context, this concert was specifically with Wagewar, Volbeat, and 3 Days Grace. Now, first off, let me talk about the kit that I brought because I think it served me pretty well, even though there's some things that I would have changed just because it made my life a little bit hard in the long run. So first off, I took a smaller backpack just because you don't want to take a huge one and then have to deal with it. But if you're able to put it somewhere when you're there, take advantage of that. Now, one thing I did take, which I asked some people and I looked online that would be beneficial, and it is something good to probably take with you, is a 70-200 2.8, because this one will help you get that range that you need, especially if it's really crowded or especially if you're not able to get some shots from nearby. So the one thing is I took a second camera just to be safe that I don't, have something happen to my main camera and then I can't take any pictures at all. I took my 90D. This 70-200 lived on my 90D pretty much the entire night, but I honestly rarely used it. I used it for a few detailed shots. I used it for a few shots here and there. But the one thing I actually did use a lot more is my Canon R8, which is my main camera. And I used my 24-70 2.8. For the most part, this was good because if the performers came pretty close to me, which was like sometimes right above me, then they were able to get in focus and they were still like really good shots there. And I got plenty of awesome ones where they're like nearby and slightly far and just seem to cover most of the distance. For bigger stages, this might change, but at least for me, this worked pretty well. One thing I would use a little bit more is my 10-20 millimeter. That would be great for getting like these fisheye vintage looking shots, and it'd also just be good in general to be able to get a more unique perspective and also more of the stage itself, because sometimes you have, especially bands, more people on stage and you want to capture a lot of it. But honestly, if you had one lens, go for the 24-70 because this covers a good range and you're going to be able to get certain shots just like the ones I'm showing throughout this video. Another thing is, to get this type of clearance, you probably have to go with a publication. And I had someone who reached out to me and I was able to shoot this show and get some really cool like behind the scenes looks where like the tour buses are, and go and even see some of where the security is, etc. And go and see security and other things that you wouldn't usually see if you were just attending. One tip that you don't have to follow, but I think it just works better, is potentially wear all black because you're going to be less distracting to other people and the performers, and it looks more professional, it looks more clean. But again, this is kind of subjective because for concert and stuff, it really doesn't matter. People are going to be dressing everything under the sun. So, you don't have to worry about that. But I personally would do that just to make yourself a little bit more hidden and to make it a little bit less obvious that you're there. So, you'll be able to get some cleaner shots sometimes for certain things. And you won't have like people looking at you or the performers looking at you. It'll just be something a little bit different, but subjective nonetheless. And to be able to get this photo set, one thing to be certain is, at least that the people that were running the publication told me, and that I would personally just do anyway, is get some atmospheric shots. So that means getting like with the venue shot where like maybe it has a sign of the venue or like the outside of it. Next is also getting the actual stage when either it's transitioning or when, the lights are on, the smoke is there, or just things are happening, because you want to get some of those shots to kind of tell the story. Especially at 3 Days Grace, I would take shots of like the mic stand, which had a lot of guitar picks and other things where it was just more unique to the band. Remember, with a lot of these shots, and especially with events, like I've mentioned in other videos, you want to create a story. In my opinion, at least, that tells what you are there for, and also it tells people the atmosphere. It tells the mood. So that's something that I did as well, and it really, really helped make the set even better in my opinion. Another couple of tips are to shoot at a higher ISO because you can't really use a flash in some of these bigger venues, especially. Most of the time you can't. So use a higher ISO because the lights on the stage are going to be pretty much covering whatever lack of light there's going to be. But also, one big thing is shoot at a higher shutter speed. I think I was at some point like 200 to 300 minimum, and sometimes I think went higher even. And those will be good because with especially high energy performances, you want to be able to capture things and capture it cleanly because they're gonna be jumping around. They're gonna be doing hand things and a lot of different things. Those things will be blurry most of the time, and unless you're going for that, you want to be able to get it in focus. And I do recommend going high for that. So overall, those are a few things that happened with this whole experience for the 3 Days Grace concert, and I definitely don't regret going because it's so much fun. And I think even as just something where it's a more high security venue, a more like, you know, exclusive experience. It was something awesome. And if you're able to get a photo pit or his media pass, etc., definitely try to, because it's an experience that's completely different from just attending the actual concert itself. So that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, got some value. If you want to see another cool one, be sure to check out this video over here, or check out the channel right over here. Also, if you want to hit me on social media, it'll be somewhere on screen. Just hit me up there, and I'd love to follow you. I'd love to interact with some of you. And thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Peace. Also, side note, this is very hot because it's like 30 something degrees here. So that's why I'm sweating throughout the entire video, and there's a light on me. So yeah, if you notice I was getting sweatier throughout the video, that's why.